Starting a D&D game might seem like a simple checklist. Get some friends, grab some dice, and dive in, right? Is that it? That's all it takes? We're just a couple folks sitting at a table, talking and rolling some dice? Not quite. Here's the truth. The most important part of starting a game isn't even necessarily the rules or your gear. I think it's the people. Today we're going to be talking about how to find the right group and why that can make or break your first D&D experience, and then also other things that you'll need to start off your first D&D campaign. Welcome back to Riddle and Roll. I'm Dan. I've been playing D&D for nearly a decade, and my goal here is to help new players start strong and seasoned adventurers keep leveling up. Today, I'm diving into the first crucial step of D&D, actually starting a game. And I want to hear from you. If you've started a game before, what's the best advice you would give somebody who's just in the beginning? They're bringing some people together and trying to get that first game started. Drop your tips in the comments so that we can help the next group, the next wave of people playing D&D. Let's get real. Starting a D&D game isn't just about picking up dice and deciding who's the DM. A good start lays the foundation for months, even years, of unforgettable adventures. But a rough start, that can lead to frustration, confusion, quick burnout, and just the falling apart of what that party and group and story was meant to be. And here's the thing, nothing makes D&D harder to learn or enjoy than playing with a group that just doesn't get it, that doesn't click, that doesn't have the same expectations. It doesn't work. Finding the right people to play with matters more than anything else, in my opinion, and it's worth taking the time to get it right. I think you should be the choosiest for this. It can become really easy to just say yes to anyone and everyone who's interested in playing D&D with you. It can become very easy to say, well, these are the people I have to play D&D with because they're the only ones who are interested, and then you end up forming a group that is just not the best fit. So, if D&D isn't just a game, it's this group experience, and the people at your table are shaping everything, the tone, the energy, whether this game is fun or a slog, how then do you find the right group? I think you should start by looking for friends or acquaintances who share your same approach to the game. Are they excited to dive into a particular story? Are they willing to learn the rules and experiment, knowing you'll get some things right and some things wrong, but we're all figuring this out together? Are they open to your collaboration style instead of just arguing and disagreeing? These are the kinds of players who make the game fun, especially for beginners. I remember the group that I first started with, I don't think we did 80% of the game correctly. Or even now, as we've played for nearly 10 years together, we look back and we just laugh at the way that we used to think rules worked, or funny, strange characters that we thought were going to be good, but they weren't, and things like that, or we look back positively to those things because we learned so much and we were doing it together. So, like I said, I get it. I know sometimes it's tempting to just throw a group together because you want to start as soon as possible, but if it's the only thing your group has in common is that they want to play D&D, that might not be enough. So many people have different expectations of what D&D should be, what their player should be, what their character should look like, how their character interacts with the story, all of those things, and misaligned expectations or those clashing personalities can make this game such a chore instead of that joy. It's okay to wait for the right group. Next, I think once you've got that group, then you want to pick the right role. Decide who's doing what. If you're the most experienced or the most excited or the most interested, you might end up being the DM. And I think that that's awesome, but don't also let that idea of being a DM for the first time intimidate you. It's just another way to enjoy the D&D game. You don't have to be the absolute expert in everything to do that well. You just have to be the right person to lead your group well. And if they're trusting you and you're all on the same page, then I think you're good to go. I remember when I first started, I DM'd for my group and I'd never played D&D before. I'd listened to some D&D podcasts to kind of get a sense of like style and how do people do this and lead. But it was more about a willingness to lead well than it was about getting everything right all the time. If you are new, there are plenty of resources to help you get started, beginner-friendly campaigns like Lost Mine of Phandelver or Dragons of Stormwreck Isle, and there's also some suggested adventures in the new 2024 Dungeon Master's Guide. There's 5 different quests that take you from level 1 to level 7. I'm actually recording and publishing all of those adventures on my original channel, King Leo D&D, here on YouTube, and so if you want to see those be played out, if you want to get a sense of how somebody DMs those things, you can watch those there. We're starting that campaign in late January, and we'll be posting every week. Next, let's talk about tools. You don't need to spend a fortune to start D&D. A set of dice, a copy of the player's handbook, or even just use the free basic rules online and you're good to go. Virtual tools like Roll20 or D&D Beyond are great for online play, and while a simple map and miniatures or even tokens and a Gyro race board, those types of things can work wonders. You can just simply use things that are around your house. You can grab some little trinkets, action figures, coins, anything like that. Like seriously, you do not have to go out and break the bank budget to go and build out this whole elaborate scene. If you're just getting started, seriously, just the imagination of using little things around the house but then knowing what they represent, it can even add to the feel and the environment of playing D&D. It doesn't have to be this whole elaborate thing. Next, set some expectations. Before you roll your first die, sit down with your group, and then you're going to want to set out some ground rules. What kind of story are you looking for? Something light and funny? Are you looking for more dark and intense? Do you want to stick to the rules, or are you okay with the DM kind of like bending them and making decisions live on the go so that you're not just sticking your nose in a rule book for the entire time? How do y'all want that to be played out? I know for me, some of my most frustrating moments as being a DM is when I'm trying to lead a moment that I think is very dark and intense, but some players at my table want to then push it into the light and funny side. And so there might even be some type of communication tool that you might need from the DM to the players to say, hey, this is going to be one of our more serious interactions, so take this moment seriously. Something like that, like being willing to communicate those things and establish some type of plan to make sure that when you are on the same page or not on the same page, you can get back to the same page. Talk about scheduling too. How often can everyone play? How long are sessions going to last? Clear expectations up front make everything smoother and will avoid some surprises later. Finally, remember this. It is okay to take your time. Don't rush to start just because you're excited, though I do get it. The hype is real. So many people, even because of that hype and such a strong desire to play D&D, will just cut corners or do whatever it takes to just get people at that table so that you can start playing. But taking your time to build the right group, lay the right groundwork, those types of things, it is worth the wait. And don't forget, again, D&D, it's such a learning process. The first session might feel clunky, but that's just part of the journey. Keep communicating, keep learning, and the fun will follow. So, starting a D&D game doesn't have to be overwhelming. Focus on finding the right group, set some clear expectations, and then keep things simple to start. Thank you for watching. If you found this helpful, do hit that like button and please subscribe for more tips and tricks from Riddle and Rule. Let me know in the comments, what was your first D&D game like? What were some of those early stories where it's just like, yeah, we were figuring it out, but man, this was pretty fun. Until next time, may your rolls be high and your adventures epic.